The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast platform, its affiliates, or even the hosts. The information provided is for general informational purposes only and should not be taken as legal, financial, or professional advice. The host and guests are not liable for any errors of omission in the content, nor for any losses, injuries, or damages arising from the use of the information provided. Listeners are encouraged to seek professional advice relevant to their specific circumstances.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 9 of Spotlight with That B. And I am super excited to have my guest on today, which is John Copeland Jr. John,
What's up?
I am super excited. So, so I don't even know where to start off with saying all the things you have done, all the things that you do. I want to start off, I guess, by saying how it is that I know you. I know you because you're one of my CQ brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and that is Club Quarantine. I also know you from The Gentleman's Corner,
Right.
which is a show that you had on IG where it was a panel with yourself and other gentlemen, which are CQ brothers. um, if nothing else, you are definitely someone that stands out in community.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So, and definitely in nothing but a positive way. A lot of us see you as family, as an older brother. Um, you give amazing advice. I do, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you do or what you've done is marketing and A&R or just marketing.
It was mainly marketing. I had
Okay.
some dabbles in A&R. Like you're not going to see
Yeah.
me on anybody's liners in the album. I was kind of the behind the scenes guy, which is the way I liked it.
Yeah.
Um, I've always been like that. I've always liked to be the guy in the back of the room, and I don't need the attention, so I was cool with that. But yeah, it was more like the marketing side of it than anything else.
So it's funny though that then fast forward all these years and you're now in front of the camera.
Yeah, how yeah, how crazy is that?
Right?
And it's so funny because like people that know me and they're like, how did that happen? Because you barely like you would be in the room and sometimes wouldn't even talk. You would just sit in the back and just listen and do your thing. And so how did you end up in front of the camera? And I'm like I said, it's hard to explain how it happened. They're surprised because I've never been, and even now, I'm not somebody that seeks out the spotlight. It just with the pandemic, with the shows, it just all kind of came together and it put me in this space. And now I'm here. And so now that I'm here and I kind of figured out my purpose in this thing and what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm like, okay, well, I can't sit back. And at this point, I can't go back in the shadows because damn near everybody knows me now. So the fact of trying to do that doesn't even work.
I would
So
definitely say that it was your purpose. And I would definitely say that this is your new mission.
yeah, it's but it's like I said, it's like when I look back and I've always been, like I said, I've always been in the back, and
Mhm.
but I've always had great relationships with people. I've always been able to network with people. Like that's just my thing. But as far as getting in front of people and speaking and sharing my thoughts and stuff like that, none of that really came to fruition until 5 years ago. Like it was just something I just didn't do, and the idea that the way that it happened, I mean, it came from people that don't know, it came from Derek and Club Quarantine. And it started with that. And that's how I met the other guys. And they kind of talked me into doing the thing because my whole thing with the show was I was going to do one episode. I was like, look, I'll do the first episode, I'll do this. And then after that, y'all just do it. And then I'll just come on every once in a while because I wanted to go back to the cut. Like that was what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
but it didn't turn out that way. And people were like, "No, we want to see you." And as things grew and as it continued, I figured out this is where I was supposed to be. And so there was no walking away from it. There was no getting away from it. And but at the same time, I met a lot of amazing people. It
Mm.
brought me in touch with some people that if it wasn't for the quarantine, I would have never been in the same room with these people. and had these experiences. So it's been
including myself, John, including
absolutely,
myself.
absolutely. It's like it's crazy. Even like Derek and I. Derek, I mean, I've known Derek for the better part of 30 years,
So
and
for those, wait a minute, for those
mm,
that don't know who Derek is, we're talking about D Nice.
mm, yeah,
So Derek,
I've known him for it's the better part of about 30 years. We I met Derek when Derek was probably 16, maybe 16, 17, and I was
wow,
probably 18, 19, and this was when he was, the young gun in BDP and all that stuff, and we didn't even look like we belonged there because we looked like kids compared to everybody else, and
right,
we struck up a friendship, and it was just kind of like cool, like we weren't the best of friends, but we saw each other. It was always love, it was always respect. And then we kind of lost touch with, especially when I moved out to Arizona, we kind of lost touch with each other. And then I ran into him in Miami,
right.
and
Oh,
I,
okay,
I ran into him down there, and he was actually the person that got me on the IG. He was like, "Are you on Instagram?" I was like, "No, man, I'm on Facebook. I'm good." And he got me on IG. And then when he started the homeschooling thing, he was like, "Yo,
right.
just come check it out." And I was like, "Cool," because I know him and I know our house. I was like, "I'll come in, see what's what, see what's up." And it just kind of snowballed from there. But I would have never thought this. Like, I never expected any of this. Like,
Yes, you would never expect from the BX that y'all would all blow up.
no, yeah, it was that. I mean, that's the remarkable thing when you look at where we all came from and where
So
we
tell
all
us
are.
a little bit about that, by the way, about your beginnings.
About the beginning, so
You know,
I was born in the Bronx.
right.
As a kid, I lived on Baychester Avenue. I
Okay,
was there for a while. I was there for probably, I want to say, about a good 5 or 6 years. And then it started to really get wild. And so my parents moved us out to Long Island. But but I also spent a lot of time, even when I lived on Long Island, I still went back to the Bronx on the weekends and hang out with my cousins and all that kind of stuff. So I still spent a lot of time there. But it
right.
helped mold me. It made me very street smart. It
Yeah.
made me a lot tougher, and it made me see things in a different light. When I moved out to Long Island, it was a lot quieter. It was just a different lifestyle. And in the Bronx, it was like had to be on your p's and q's, and your head had to be on a swivel, and you had to know how to defend yourself. Like there was all of this stuff that encompassed that. And even though I had cousins and stuff to protect me, they made sure that I knew how to handle myself, and they taught me things. And so I was able to figure all of that out, but I still have that. That's always going to be there. It doesn't go away. So that whole thing is that's why like if people start talking, I'm like I walk both sides of the street. So don't let the smile and the suits and all that stuff fool you because I walk the other side of the street too. So
So, so I heard you in one of your lives, you were expressing how in your family dynamic, both your parents were I don't think you said they were executives, but was it one was a doctor or
my mom was a psychiatric doctor, and my
right.
dad was a New York City detective. He actually did a lot of work with the DEA.
So
So
definitely both professionals.
yes, definitely both professionals. There were a lot of expectations, and we like I said, we they wanted a better life for us, and they worked hard to give us that better life and those opportunities,
Yeah.
and we did. And
Oh,
they moved. They literally like they moved to one of the best experiences, and the people that I came across and I met, that's what molded me into who I am today, and why I was able to do some of the things I was able to do was because of where I grew up.
yeah. And the reason why I mentioned that is because when I heard you say that online, you actually were not just proud about it, but you were trying to make the point, it seemed, this is the way it came across, like not everybody has the same story. And
No,
people just assume because I came from the BX that that wasn't my family dynamic. And I
right,
loved how you were like, no, that was my family dynamic. We're all
absolutely, and that
different.
yeah, and it was
Go ahead.
important, I think, because people do have a preconceived notion of like, you tell them you're from certain spots and they have a preconceived notion of what that looks like and what that must have grown up like. And you'd be surprised at how different it is. Like I said, I
Yeah,
grew up in the Bronx. I had a big family and it was a unit, and I had both of my parents. They both worked hard. They made sure me and my sister had and there were a lot of other families there that were doing the same thing. You
mhm,
just didn't hear about it. All you heard about was the bad stuff. You didn't hear about all the
right.
good people. up there. So it was one of those things where I wanted to point out that it's like, don't think just because I'm from there, I'm a certain kind of way. Because I'm not. I'm completely different than what you would have ever thought that came out of that area. And there's a lot of people like that that are the same way.
No, and a lot of times society
Hmm.
wants to put that narrative on black and brown people because
Absolutely.
that's what I related to. When you
Hmm.
said that, I was like, you know what? John is right. Because a lot of people assume because I come from being a super duper hip hop fan, because I'm part of the culture, because I know a lot of people from the industry, automatically they assume that there's negative things that come along with that.
Absolutely.
And not necessarily, and just because it's something where I say that I experienced struggle, it doesn't necessarily mean that my family dynamic was not a positive one.
Right.
So to hear you speak on that, it really did speak to me. And I was just like, I knew I liked John. I knew I liked this guy.
Yeah, I think
So,
it's important that they, like you said, I think it's very important that people understand that we are not a monolith. There are
no,
many different layers to us. There are many different types of people, and we've all grown up, and we all have our own stories to tell. And that's the beauty of it, is we all have our own stories to tell, and everybody's story is not going to look the same. It's not going to sound the same. And just like you said, just because you say, because people say struggle and they think the worst kind of thing in the world, like, oh,
hmm,
and struggle is not always the worst type of thing. It's sometimes it's you finding your identity. It's you trying to figure out where your place is in the world. Things like that. So everybody's struggle is different. So this is why you have to look at it that is that we're not a monolith. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has something to say and to show people, and you should be able to do that.
yes, which is part of the reason why I kept asking for you to do my spotlight because I feel your story is one that definitely needs to reach the masses. Um, Especially in the world that we live in today, we're seeing a positive black man who is the personification of excellence is it always falls behind everything else. And I am tired of seeing all the negative. I want to definitely put all the positive
Absolutely.
stories out there.
Yeah, I
And
think,
I know
and
part of what you do,
honestly,
sorry,
that
go
was a
ahead, go
big
ahead.
part of why we did the show. Like that was a big part
Yes,
of
the
it was
gentleman's corner.
we wanted to
Yes,
show that there were good men out there. There were good fathers out there. There were just good guys out there, and we wanted to show that and express that, and also express a side that people didn't see, which was the vulnerability and being transparent and telling our story and understand and letting other men know that it was okay. That's why we always talked
yes,
about it being a safe space and a space where you could be vulnerable and talk. Um, so it was important for us to present that front and that the way that looked, and I
yes.
think that's why the show took off the way that it did.
So, for those that do not know, um, the show that John is mentioning is an IG show, a show on IG that he had, which was a live, where he had it was himself and three other gentlemen, and they were called the Gentleman's Corner. I believe John, and this is why I'm saying it in past tense or speaking about it in tense, because I believe now he's going to be moving forward and doing his own show,
Hmm.
which is called, is it Conversations?
Conversations with Jacob.
Okay. And I am excited to see when that actually comes out because I think we've all been requesting it
Yes,
and waiting on it.
yes, yeah.
So, one of the things that I love um, about your conversations is how real you get. You do not sugarcoat anything, and I am exactly that way. You
Hmm.
do not sugarcoat anything. You make sure that the conversations you're having with people are informative,
Right.
respectful, and definitely conversations that are needed according to what's going on in today's day and age.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
so I wanted to say, in regards to, because you were mentioning your purpose before, would you say now having this platform where I tell me a little about tell me a little bit about what you plan on doing with this show. The platform is catering to, are you going to be pulling people up? Tell me what it is you have in mind, or
It's
tell us.
it's gonna be me having real conversations.
Right.
I'm used to, and it's gonna be new because I'm used to being in a group setting, and like you said, everybody's been pushing for me to do something on my own for a minute. And
Definitely.
honestly, yes, I've resisted it. I've pushed back on it because, especially at the time, it was always about the collective, and it was always about what was best for the group and what have you. But I also realized I was kind of dimming my shine to make other people happy, make other people comfortable. And I also wasn't, even though I was walking in my purpose, I wasn't truly walking in my purpose. And my purpose is that I have know a lot of people. I network with a lot of people. I have a lot of friends on different levels of stuff, and we need to have these conversations. I need to have conversations with men. I need to have conversations with women. I need to have conversations with everybody all together. Like, we're going to talk about a variety of stuff. It's not going to be just one thing where we're just talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. And I think it's necessary. And I think it's necessary for me because it's one of the places where I feel most comfortable. I love having conversations. I love being able to take something from a conversation. Even, and I say this all the time, anytime you have a conversation with someone, even if you disagree, you should walk away from that conversation with something. Like, that's how you grow, and that's how you move forward. And so for me, it's important. So it's important to have the conversations. And I only know how to be real because that's me. I've always been that way. So I'm not going to sugarcoat things. Like, people like, oh, sometimes you can be mean. That's not. I'm just no nonsense. I don't do the
Yeah.
bullshit. Like, I just don't. I can't do it. That's why I don't do drama. I don't do any of that stuff because I'm very real. I'm very transparent, and I'm going to call it how I see it, and I'm going to tell you. And you're not going to agree with it. And I respect everybody to agree with it. If you
Right.
ask my opinion, I'm going to tell you what my opinion is, and then you're entitled to your opinion. But we can have these conversations, and these conversations are necessary because there's so much mess out there right now.
It's
With
the communication that's important, John.
absolutely, we have to communicate, and there's still this thing of talking at each other and not
Yes,
to each other.
definitely.
And that's an issue. So we have to still continue to work on that. I mean, it's all a work in progress. But
Right.
for me, I think because of the way that people resonate and they relate to me, I'm
Yeah.
able to have conversations. I'm also able to put things in certain perspective. And even for like guys, it's like I felt that's exactly how I felt. I just didn't know how to express it, or I just didn't know what to say. I didn't know. I didn't thought I was the only person that felt like that. Like, when we started doing the show, we
Yeah.
had so many guys, and mind you, the audience was 99% women.
Yep.
It's like 99% women. But we had these few guys that would like DM us after the show, and they were like, man, like, I didn't know that I thought I was the only person that felt like that. Or, I'm so glad you guys are talking about this. And, you really gave me, like, and so you realize, for me, which is what it's all about, is touching
Yeah.
people. And I love,
Definitely.
and so when I'm able to touch people in that way, and it's a very humbling thing when people stop you on the street, or they catch you out somewhere, and they're like, man, you know what? You really got me through a hard time, or whether you believe it or not, what you said really resonated me. Like, that makes a huge difference, and it makes me feel good. I'm not doing this for clicks and likes and trying to make a whole. I'm not doing it for any of that. I'm doing it because I enjoy to do it, and so for me to step out on my own, yeah, it's a little scary. Like,
Mm.
this is a new thing for me, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the conversations. It's happening sooner than everybody thinks, so that's, that's gonna be a good thing. So yeah, so just stay tuned.
So I definitely am staying tuned. I'm watching. So I wanted to say this. I think part of the reason why everyone accepted you the way they did in these conversations, you in particular, not
Mhm.
just everyone else, but you in particular. I'm a real big lurker. So I pay attention by sitting back and just watching people and watching the way they move with others.
Right.
And you have this energy of, and it's most likely because you're very genuine, but you're also very experienced. And
Mm-hmm.
what I mean by that is you can speak about family because you're a father, you're an amazing husband, um, from what I hear. Uh, because I personally don't know, but and I know Susan, and the one thing that I see on her all the time is a huge smile on her face.
Mm-hmm. I
And I was always told you can tell what type of man is the husband to a woman, what type of husband he
mm-hmm.
is by the smile on her face. And
Yeah.
she is, and I know you guys do not have in any way a perfect life,
Oh
but the
yeah.
one thing I see you always do have together is joy.
Yeah. We've
So
been.
that stands out, John, when people can
Yeah.
see that, and that is why they gravitate to you.
Yeah. And I've learned that. I think as time is going on, I think that I've kind of figured that out.
Yeah,
Because yeah, we do have a story, and we've definitely been through it. Like we've been through it a couple of times, and we're still standing. And not only we're still standing, we're standing. We have smiles on our faces, and we're
yeah,
living life. Like I just think that people they need to hear that, and they need to know because not saying that there's no such thing as like a trivial problem. All problems are their problems,
hmm,
but you have to understand that that's not the end of the world. No matter how bad it looks, no matter how dark it looks, that does not mean that that's the end of it. You just have to have faith that you're going to get through it. And nobody said it's going to be easy, but you
yeah,
get through it, and you're going to come out on the other side, and you're going to have a story to tell, and you're going to have a
yeah,
test. That's how we live life. Like I said, especially the last few years, I've been through it, and
yeah,
my faith is what gets me through, but it's also experiences that I've learned as I've come along, whether it was from my parents, whether it was from being in the industry. I mean, it all plays into who I am and being able to navigate all of these different things. And
yeah,
that's why I'm able to go to places and I'm comfortable in any space that I go into because I'm comfortable in me. So I can go to the hoodiest hood spot and I'm cool, and I can go to the bougie spot with the white tablecloths and the whole lot, and I'm cool there too. Like that's
right,
just how I move, and I know how to talk to people. I know how to connect with people, and I think that is my gift. And so
definitely.
it's put on me that I'm supposed to use this gift, and I'm supposed to use this gift for good. And
It's
so
like a calling for
yeah,
sure.
it definitely was because, like I said, I was not even on social media till the pandemic. Like I just wasn't. I wasn't a big fan, and then
Yeah,
once the pandemic came and then the club and then it was like the show and it was like all of a sudden this whole world opened up to me and I was exposed to a whole bunch of people it was weird because there were people that I was connected to
hmm,
that I didn't really know back then, and now they're like my best friends.
wow.
Like Kenny and I know the same people. Like we know a lot of the same people.
So
And
we're talking about the Homefers.
yep, Kenny Burns.
So, um, and I'm not surprised you guys are so close. I'm gonna be honest with you because knowing a little bit about Kenny the way that I do, and knowing what I know about yourself, it just makes all the sense in the world. You're both two stand-up type of guys.
Mhm.
Like you really you walk through life with integrity.
Absolutely.
So I'm definitely not surprised. Would you say, would you say Kenny is probably one of the most uh interesting individuals that you might know from the industry because he's so, in a way, he's really eclectic.
Yeah.
He's so different than everyone else.
Yeah.
And I see you're more, at least that's what you represent or
Yeah.
what you
Right.
show us.
Yeah, and
You
it's funny.
seem,
It's funny you say that because we are like he and I clicked from jump, like we clicked, and then as the relationship grew and we
yeah,
realized we knew the same people and we moved in the same circles, but our styles and stuff are completely different.
yes,
Kenny is Kenny is the life of the party. He's flamboyant. He's wearing the fly shit. He's doing all of the fly things. Like that is him. And me, I'm more buttoned down. I'm like I
Yes.
put on the suit when I have to put the suit on, but I'm not gonna be flashy like him, and I'm not doing all of that stuff. And but it works with us because we've been in this industry. We know a lot of the people. We know a lot of the ins and outs of this industry that a lot of people didn't know, and we know the stories behind some of the stories behind the stories. So
Yes.
we're able
And
to, like, we can speak on it because we were there, we experienced it, we were in it. Like, so even like when you hear some of the stories I tell on live when I talk about my time in New York and when I was growing up and all of that stuff, those are stories that if you were not in those rooms, you
yeah.
had no clue that any of that stuff was even going on. And
So
so,
one of the things, not to interrupt you, but one
mhm,
of the things that I really dig about you is that, for example, when you tell the stories of how you were around for when Guy was around in the industry.
mhm,
And I mentioned to you the other day in my live, and this is just to share with people one of the things that intrigues me about your personality. We were talking about how I was like, John, did you hear how supposedly in that Guy song in the beginning, they're saying this, and it's actually a jab to women. And I was like, what do you think about that? Like now that it's coming out, they actually, I think it was Damien, right?
Damien,
That
yeah,
said, he said, no, that actually was not said. And when I talked to you about it, I was like, so did you know that? And you were like, yeah. And I asked you, well, how come you didn't express it? You were like, because it's not my story to tell.
no, it's not.
Not a lot of people would take that stance.
No, and I think the reason I have some of the relationships, I would say some, all of the relationships I have with the people that I have is because they know whatever happens, whatever they tell me, it stays with me. I'm not going to be one of these people out here running my mouth and telling your story because I want people to lie. I'm not doing all of that. I've been in
Yeah,
some amazing rooms. I've been in some bad rooms, but those are not my stories to tell. So when people
yeah,
do tell those stories, I'm like, okay, it was time for them to tell that story, and now that they put it out there, now you can talk about it a little bit. But if you think you're going to get it from me, that's
yeah,
because that's how I've been able to keep and maintain the relationship with these people because they know they can trust me and they know that what they tell me or whatever happens is not going anywhere. And
most definitely.
that's what it is. And because listen, and Kenny got more stories than I do because
I bet.
Ken, Kenny got way more stories than I do. But you, like I said, when you're in those rooms or you're rolling in those circles, you hear about these things or you see these things. And
Mhm.
for the most part, most people kept it to themselves. The people
Yeah,
that really know what happened, they kept it to themselves. Now, then you have other people out here that, like I said, they want to be social media stars and they want clicks and all that kind of stuff. So now they're going to try to go out there and spit everybody's business. And then sometimes you're listening to somebody that wasn't there. I've heard stories from people that I'm just like, that's not how that went. Like
mm,
that's not how that whole thing went. And what was so funny, and this I think for me was a big thing, was I was on Plush's live on Tracy's live one night
right,
with
right. Which is Plush Life Media, which I love her
and
too,
Tuffy.
and she will be having her spotlight in the near future.
Yeah,
Please, Lord, yes.
yeah, she's a good one. And we were talking about, like, she was asking me about guys. She was asking me about, like, like when Timmy Gatlin was part of the group and, like, what happened and this, that, and the other. And so I was telling like I said, I told my what I know because I was
Mhm.
around, so I know what was going on. And while this conversation was going on, Daryl Chill Mitchell came into the room, and
Uh-oh.
he was like, see, he knows. Y'all better listen to that man because nobody knows that story. And so he's
Right.
telling you the truth. And so it kind of co-signed that it's like, I'm not just out here talking. Like I'm talking about stuff that I know, stuff that I've experienced, not just stuff that.
Yes.
And so for him to co-sign on that, it was like, he's like, yeah, dude, like that's exactly how that went down. Like that's exactly how that happened. Well, if you're not in that room, you don't know that that's what happened.
Yeah. It's something where a lot of times, and in this particular situation, it was something that was already that was going around online. So just to be clear, nobody was trying to insinuate anything. It was a rumor that had started online. It was started, it spread like wildfire. However, I do strongly believe when certain people tell stories, like when I tell my stories, or even my favorite podcast, and everybody knows that is my favorite podcast, but the R&B podcast, when they tell their I ain't saying no name stories, they make sure
Hmm.
that people are keeping their anonymity.
Yeah, you have to.
That's
Listen,
thank you.
you have to. It's not. They're not your. It's not your story to tell. It's just
Right,
not. Like unless it directly involves you, it's not your story to tell. It's for somebody else to tell. And then if you can say, "Yeah, I was there," and you want to co-sign on it, then that's something different. But you have
yes,
out here that are running their mouths about stuff that they really don't know about and they weren't involved in. And so it kind of like I said, people like Kenny, like
hmm,
Tuffy, Tony Rasan, all of us that were on the scene and we were in
yep.
the industry and we saw all of this stuff, we got stories for years. But it's not for us to tell everybody's story. We
Yeah,
can tell you, we can give you little blurbs here and there about like, remember when this happened. But the story is for other people to tell. And when they tell their story, or if they decide to tell that story, that's
right.
on. But you're not going to get it from us. You're not going to get, especially you're not going to get it from me. Like that's not going to happen. So I've always been that way, and I will continue to be that way. And that's how I'm able to keep and maintain these friendships that I have with these people because they know, whatever happens with me, that's where it stays.
And everybody, especially if you were ever at one point from the streets, code is very important.
Absolutely. It
Um,
is.
in both men and women.
It is.
So I completely agree with that. But I think that's also why you are so successful when you do these lives. That's why we definitely pay attention to the things that you are saying because we know when
Hmm.
you speak, it's not just to speak. It's
Yeah,
actually because you are communicating fact.
absolutely. And
And
that's
that's
what
super
it's about.
important, we know, in this day and age in
It,
social media.
it truly is. And I think that's why I say it's like, and I've talked about this on my last live, and I talk about this all the time, is you have to be careful who you're listening to and who you're getting these messages to.
Hmm.
Like everybody right now has a microphone, everybody has a
Hmm.
camera. So everybody's telling some kind of story. And it's easy to go on the internet and Google something and be like, oh, I was there, and you read all those details and act like you were truly at this place. And knowing you good and damn well you weren't. And so
Yeah.
you out of that and you have a lot of clout chasing. And
Hmm.
for me, that's never, like I said, that's never been my thing. Like I've never been
Yeah.
into it. And even now, like people like, oh, because they know I know certain people. And it's like,
Right.
well, can you get this message to so and so? Well, can you? No, I don't do that.
Oh,
I
that
don't.
happens to me too, John,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
don't do
one of
that.
my pet peeves.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
can't.
no.
Don't do. Listen, don't ask me for shit about none of my friends. Don't ask me about nothing. It's to pass
Right.
it on to them. I don't do that. Like if you want something from them or then you need to reach out to them. The whole thing is with my friends, and they'll all tell you this. I don't
Yeah.
ask anything. So how do I look asking them for something for you when I don't ask for anything for myself?
Thank you. Thank you.
How does that
Especially with the
work?
whole supporting. And
Yeah,
and I noticed this is something else not now that this convo came up. I noticed something else about you that we have in common. Besides the fact that we just keep it real. Um, I notice you're the type of person like myself that if I can't, my budget can't, well then I'm sorry. I would love to support you, but it's not going to happen
not gonna
because there is no way that I see support as now I have to comp you.
right.
That's not support.
No, it's not. And I think that for me, I'm very clear on that. Like I'm like, look,
You are.
I'm, I'm not living the lifestyles of the rich and famous. I will go to the things that are within my budget because I still have a life to live. I still have things I have to do. So I'm not trying to fly to every CQ event. I'm not trying to go to. I'm not doing it. And I tease Derek and tell him about it all the time. He'd be like, "Yo, I'm getting ready to do something." Yeah, bro. I don't think I'm gonna make that one.
I've
So
heard you do it to Kenny
I
too.
do it to Kenny Tucker. Like, yo, man, look, nope, I ain't gonna make that one, man. You gonna have to catch me once with show when you got some more shit coming up. Let me know. Like, I'm real with it because I'm not gonna sit out here and bankrupt myself and put myself in a position because I'm trying to act and look like something and just because I want to be on the scene. I've been on the scene 30 years. I don't need to be on the.
But that's needed, John, because
Yeah,
there is, like you're saying, so much clout chasing going on and so much fakeness where it's people just trying to represent or show a representation of who they are that at the end of the day is not genuine.
no,
And they make it seem like people like you and I that, that struggle, that have bills, that like all those things, they're actually not something that are valid when
exactly.
when it's not the case. We're real people. We still do things that are fun. We still, as you're saying, we know people,
Right.
but it's definitely not something where if I can't fully support you in an honest way, I don't see that an artist that is struggling to put on shows, especially in this day and age
Hmm.
with how costly everything is. I don't see it that it's me giving you support if at the end of the day you need to comp half the room.
Right.
How is that me being even a friend to you if it is that you are an artist and are my friend?
Exactly.
Um, and I notice that a lot of people get shamed for
Yeah.
saying the things we say, especially you that are always like, you're the first one that is like, wait a minute, is it cold?
Not going. Nope.
Not going. I think we were saying John needs
Yep.
merch that's like,
Yep.
I ain't doing it.
I ain't doing it. Nope. Not gonna do it. I can't.
And
I'm
so
listen.
many people are scared to say that, John.
And see, and like I said, it goes back to me being comfortable in myself. I am
Right.
unapologetically me. I'm not trying to
Mhm.
be anything for anybody else. I'm just going to be me. And so, and there are certain things that I stand on, and I'm going to stand 10 toes down on them until the day I die. And
Right.
nothing I'm going to do is moving me off of that square. So what happens is, and this is where people have to have more strength and they have to be more sure of themselves, is it's okay to be outside of what the norm is or what anybody else does. It's okay to be like, I can't do that shit. I can't afford that right now. Or you know what
Even if you have FOMO.
yeah, exactly. That's okay. Listen, I have FOMO every week. Every time I see something, listen, I be like, man, and I wish that was me, but I can't do that right now. When the time comes for me to do it, I'll be able to do it. But then there's other shit I'm just not doing. Like I said, don't invite me nowhere in the wintertime. I'm not going. Don't. It's not gonna happen. So, like my people in New York know you got me from spring to like little. You got me to about little mid fall, maybe around September. So once it starts getting cold and it starts snowing, bro, I'll see y'all again in the spring. You ain't gonna see me. Don't ask. Don't invite me to no party. You know how many parties Derek has invited me to and get paid? I'm not doing. No, sorry, it's too cold, and I'm not trying to go somewhere and have to carry a big ass coat, and I don't even got clothes like that. So no,
No,
I'm not.
I feel you. I feel you because when it's winter and I have to come from Miami, I'm lugging the big ass coat too.
Yeah,
And
like
I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
nope,
But
doing it. So
I think I think this whole conversation is what needs to be heard because especially the younger generation,
yes,
they don't hear this enough. So
no,
they're actually, I think this is why, and I know you've had conversations um about people, and I'm trying to think, is it something I could say on YouTube? But about people wanting to end their struggle
mm-hmm,
in life.
yes,
Yeah, I don't know if I could say the word, but I think you know what I mean.
yeah,
And a lot of times it's because they view themselves as a failure
mm-hmm.
because they can't keep up with the Joneses. And it's like, no, it is okay. It
It's
does
not
not
that.
make you a failure.
No, it's not, and I think this is where like, I mean, this goes back to the music. It goes
Hmm.
back to the imagery. It goes back to what the media pushes out. It goes back to all these things of how your life is supposed to be. Um,
Right.
supposed to be in life. If you're 20 something years old, you're supposed to be here. If you're 30 something years old, you're supposed to be here. You should have this. You should be doing this. You should be going on this many vacations. The reality of it is that's 1%. All right.
Right.
And even with that 1%, and I say this to all the time, and I've said this and I will continue to say this, the reason you should never be jealous or envious of what other people have is because you don't know what it took for them to get it. There are people
Amen.
literally, literally sold their soul for a bag,
Yep.
for a trip, for a
Listen,
car. It's not that
for an
serious.
opportunity.
An opportunity. It's not that serious. And then when you realize what you've done, the regret and the shame comes into it because you're like, I can't believe I did that. Now, some people they continue to do it, and that's something they got to deal with when that judgment time comes. You got to deal with that. But a lot of times, people feel like shame and regret of what they've done, especially when they've been tossed aside. Like
Hmm.
it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, and now
Right.
you feel a certain kind of way, and so it's like where unfortunately these young kids especially are putting themselves and being put in these positions that
Yeah.
honestly mentally they're not equipped to handle.
Right.
No,
And then they don't have the people around them either.
no, and that's a whole nother story because
Yeah.
we were when we were coming up, we had that village mentality. Everybody looked out for one another. The older people looked out for the younger people. The OGs made sure that you stayed on the straight and narrow and did what you were supposed to do. And we're at a point now where that's evaporated. We don't
Mm.
have, and so people even scared. People are scared to talk to their own damn kids and be like, "Not doing that." Yeah, over here we don't do that here. Like you
I
trust.
saw that the other day in the store, John, and I was thrown back. I'm just like, the kid was acting up. The mom corrects the child, and the way the child has gone off on that parent, I was like, first of all, I wouldn't have finished the sentence.
Mm-mm.
In my house, no.
Shh. You,
It, it would have been like, I'm sorry, you said what?
if you
And
looked at
you said what in public?
exactly,
No.
if you even looked a certain way, you knew you was getting it.
You know the eye roll
Exactly. You look
wouldn't get across to the other side because
exactly.
they would have been like, "Did you just give me an eye roll?"
Exactly. And that's not happening. And
No.
so these parents are scared of these kids or they're not disciplining these kids. And so then what you have is you'll have undisciplined adults. So they go into this world thinking that they're entitled to all of this stuff and that, you're supposed to do everything for them and all. It just sets a bad precedent. And when it comes to the youth right now, we're in a bad space.
Yeah, definitely.
The things that are being
Definitely
taught.
because
No,
they feel like they shouldn't be and that they can't be corrected.
absolutely. And I'm like Kenny, like I do agree with a lot of it is the music. Like
You think?
I think so. I think if you listen to just listen, I mean, and I don't listen to the
Well, yeah,
like if you listen to it, first off, it all sounds the same.
yeah.
It's always about the same stuff: drugs, women, misogyny, sex,
Weapons.
yeah, everything. I mean, it's all the same shit. And so
Yeah,
if you're a 14, 15, 16-year old kid and this is all you're hearing, like you're listening to this shit all day,
right.
night, and you're seeing it on IG and you're seeing all this stuff, you're thinking that this is reality.
Yeah. I'd also like to add gaming into that.
Yes, gaming has a lot to do with it as well. And what happens is they like and I tell you how you can tell because you look at some of the stuff that goes on now. Like these kids have no like
Idea.
they don't value life. Like they
They
have
don't.
no problem taking somebody's life and they act like it's nothing. And these are 16, 17, 18-year-old kids who've thrown their entire life away because somebody said something or
But you know why? Because they think like in these games, they
they
have additional lives.
yeah, you're gonna reset. No, that
Yeah.
don't like that. We're about to
It's
go to
we
jail and
don't,
we're never gonna see you again. That's what's about to happen here. And they
right?
understand that. So they don't value the concept of life. They don't value the concept of that there's punishment for a crime. There's punishment for things and consequences for things that you do. We knew that coming up. We were taught that coming up. We saw it
Yeah.
coming. So it was like, look, if you do X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C can happen to you. Like you know that this is what it was. And even music wise, when you look at the music that came from the 70s and even going into the 80s and the 90s, you had
Right.
uplifting music, you had power to the people music, you had all of these different genres of stuff, and everybody talking about so many different things that
Yeah.
it this world of imagination where it was just like, you're like, man, like. I can do anything because this person is rapping about something that I like. And you know what? This person over here is rapping on something that I like. So everybody wasn't doing the same thing. They weren't saying the same thing. Everybody had their own lane. And you knew that the possibilities were unimaginable. You could do whatever you wanted to do. You just had to figure out what it was. I'll be the first one to tell you. The first time I heard Public Enemy, and these are guys I grew up with. Like they were my brothers. Like literally we'd be in Chuck's basement and they was putting his music together and I was like, this is a whole bunch of damn noise. Like that's what I'm looking at. Like this, I'm like, I don't know what this is gonna be. And then they started playing the music on the radio. We were happy when they played it on the college radio station because we wanted to be like hood famous. So it was cool.
Right.
This,
It's
you know,
famous.
he was like, oh, turn the radio on at night and you hear the song. He was like, okay, this is cool. But when
Yeah.
you started hearing it in cars and they started getting radio play, it was like, okay, we weren't expecting this. And to think that they went and we went from this basement to they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No, and they have longevity.
And they're global. Nobody in their wildest dreams could have imagined that this was going to happen. You just didn't. And when we were doing music coming up during that time, we did it
Yeah.
because we loved the music. We
Yeah.
loved culture. It wasn't about necessarily getting famous. It wasn't necessarily about getting rich. We just loved the music. And for it to be 30 or 40 years later, and that music is still relevant and it still
But you
makes
know why? Because
right.
it was also informational. It
Absolutely.
had knowledge within the music that you might not necessarily obtain in school.
Exactly.
Especially PE and
When
public
Chuck
enemy.
and them did say stuff, Chuck and all them guys, you wanted to pick up a book to figure out what the hell he was talking about.
Yes,
Like
yes.
that was the
It
beauty.
happened to me. I'm a living, alive person that is living proof that that is the case.
Yes. And so we've lost that. Like when you
Yeah,
listen to this music now, you're not getting any of that. They're getting one message. And
yeah,
unfortunately, it's a bad message. And unfortunately, it's damaging a whole generation of kids.
yeah,
And it's like, can we get back from that? I don't know because there's so many things pushing this agenda. It's not just
for
the
real.
it's social media, it's regular media. It's I
But
mean you
it's deliberate, John. It's deliberate
yes
because it has a full intent of holding people back because
mm-hmm,
as we all know, knowledge is power.
it's power.
And if you take away the knowledge, especially from the younger generation, they will fall for anything.
That's why it's dumbed down. When you listen to that, it's like they dumb it down because they're dumbing you down. They don't want
Yep.
you to think. So it's like okay, like what do you? And I was like literally like I listen to some of the stuff and I'm like, what is the purpose of this shit? Like, well, I'm just not
So I swear to God,
just
it's
not
like,
getting.
why are you telling me about your vagine? I
Yeah,
don't care.
what is that? Like who I don't want to know about that. That's too much information.
They are the leaders of not the new school, but of TMI.
That part. That part. And
um,
I'm like, see, and it's not good. And you like I said, you have everybody now. Listen, everybody shouldn't have a microphone.
oh my God, say
Every
it again.
everybody should not have a microphone. And everybody
Turn the mic off on some of these people.
listen, everybody I'm just
I'm
saying
telling you, I completely agree.
they should.
Those that know me know that I was part of the recap. Again, shout out to Kenny Burns. And one of the things we would all discuss is this,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, where is this coming from? And why would you think I need to know all these personal things? None of it is educational. None
No,
of it makes me feel good. None of it makes me want to seek further of anything from you.
no,
Further music, further content. Um, but I also feel like it seems like, and this is what we would talk on the panel in the nation in TKBS, we were always discussing that we don't know how it went from Public Enemy,
mm-hmm.
BEP, um, De La Soul
Mm-hmm.
to what we are now having to ingest when we turn on the radio. I'm to the point, John, when I don't even listen to the radio no more
I
because
don't
I'm just like, What is this hot garbage?
I can't do it. I literally in my car I have satellite radio. I listen to old school stations and old school
Yeah.
music and stuff that I'm in tune to because I'm not trying to take in that foolishness. Like I'm just not. And
So a lot of people, let me hear your take on this. I don't mean to cut you off, but as it's occurring to me,
yeah, go ahead.
so a lot of people say it's demonic. That is why those things are happening, and that is part of the agenda.
I
Um,
wouldn't I you know what
Tell me your perspective. Tell me your
I
perspective.
wouldn't I wouldn't
Disagree?
I'm not gonna go full down the rabbit hole, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't discount it because
Mm.
um, some of the things that we see and hear about that happen, like with some,
Right.
it, it is like it's like okay, how did you get there? Like, I mean, how did you get that far down the rabbit hole that you would do something so despicable or whatever the case may be? Like, that's just not normal behavior.
It
Um,
isn't.
and so but I do think that some of it is driven by the music. I think it is driven by that demonic destructive
Yeah.
behavior. You know, like
Yeah.
I believe that because you think about, I mean, even like, I mean, just look at right now, like the world is in chaos right now.
Is
it
it?
it is it is in it is in complete chaos on all corners right now. And
Yeah.
we didn't, not saying that you don't have issues and things don't crop up, but the last 4 years we didn't have all of this happening and all of it happening at once. Like it seems like every time you turn around there's something happening, something bad happening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there comes a time where like I'm, you got to start listening to what's going on around you. You got to start
Mm.
paying attention, and you're starting to see things that you have not seen before, and things are starting to move a little bit differently, and so you have to be aware of that. And like I said, I won't go completely down the rabbit hole, but
Mhm.
there's definitely some dark stuff going on.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, I think the music, because music is so easy and so accessible, and it's so
Yeah.
easy with it, um, that it plays a.
Now, mind you, I do see some positive artists, but
Oh,
there's so few.
and that's the thing. And you think about it, Betty, the ones that are positive, right?
Yeah.
Look at somebody like a J. Cole or somebody like that. He's not getting the press and the
He
attention
isn't.
that the rest of these fools are out here getting. Like he's just not. Even Kendrick. Kendrick, if you know rap and you know hip hop, you knew that Kendrick was a lyrical monster from way back when.
Hmm.
But it took literally Drake to pull him out of his shell and pull him out into the spotlight for
Right.
him to show people, look, first off, I'm not the one. Like you definitely don't want to dance this dance with me. But
Hmm.
second thing is, I'm gonna hit you over the head with all this knowledge and all this stuff that you need to know while you're watching these videos, while you're watching my halftime show, while you listen. That halftime show was one of the best halftime shows, just symbolically by what he did with it. And if you
Right.
paid attention to it and watched the breakdown, it shows you where this guy's head is at, and it's smart how
Right.
smart this dude is. But he wasn't on anybody's radar until Drake started talking shit about him and pulled him out
Right.
into the light. So the guys like him and J. Cole, those guys aren't getting the spotlight that some of these other knuckleheads are out here getting that ain't saying nothing. Like that's just the reality of it. And there's a reason for it. There's a reason why they're paying these guys all of this money to say all this misogynistic shit and
Mm.
hateful stuff and all this mess that they're doing. There's a reason for it. And when you got a guy that says, "Oh, I got 5 million streams," well, that means you got 5 million people listening to this foolishness.
Yeah.
So that
And
says,
then it's not even like they want to um and I'm gonna use JD as an example. I'm cool with JD. I love his music, but he has a variety.
mm-hmm,
He's got his, Magic City Money, and he also has love songs. He
mm-hmm,
has positive songs. He has soft girl era.
mm-hmm,
Um, so it's not like he's through, and I have yet to hear something where it's something so negative that
Right.
it comes across um as as something demonic, because I don't know what other word to use, to be honest with you.
Right.
So it's always something where it's real because it's about the streets,
Hmm.
but he gives you a variety of things and he never goes overboard.
No, and
And yet,
he's even talked about it where he's grown, where he's like he listens to some of his earlier stuff and the way that he referenced
yeah.
stuff like that, and he's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I was saying that shit." And it's like, well, that was part of the show. Like that was a part of it. Is you went from
Right,
excuse my language, from bitches and hoes to song cry and stuff like that. Like you grew up, and so your music changed. So the idea of you thinking you could relate to something you did 20, 30 years ago, of course you looking
right.
back, what the hell was I thinking? Like, I can't believe I was
Yeah,
even like my kids. I'm not even gonna let them listen to it because that was
yeah,
disgusting. He's at
yeah,
that in his life where he's like, okay, yes, it was a part of how we grew up and it was part of how we see things. But now that I'm growing up and that I'm healed, now to have my own children, it's like, oh, I
right.
that like they can't listen to daddy's early stuff. They can listen
So
to from here up, but I don't want them listening to the stuff before that because I was out of my damn mind.
do you
That
think that, although, like, for example, the younger generation now, do you think, because the one thing yourself, JD, and a lot of the people you're mentioning, a lot of the things that Kenny, a lot of you now have wisdom,
hmm
because with age, you gain wisdom, but you're also all fathers.
yeah,
So knowing that what you do today, because you have that wisdom, knowing that what you do today could impact your children in the future. I think that's what these younger artists are not aware of,
no,
that you will have to be accountable for what you are
absolutely,
putting out into this world today.
yeah. Fatherhood changes everything. Like
Yeah,
fatherhood, it changes your entire life because it's not about you anymore.
right,
It's a child. And so, when you're younger, especially when you have kids when you're young, you still might be kind of a wild and you still kind of doing stuff and all that kind of, yeah, that mentality. But as
hmm,
you get older and as you move forward in life and you start to mature, if you start to mature, you realize,
hmm,
hey, this child is the most important thing. And what am I leaving this child? And I don't necessarily mean what am I meaning monetarily or what I'm
right.
leaving materialistically.
You
What am
mean
I
legacy?
legacy? What legacy am I leaving this child with? What am I, I tell my sons this all the time and they can't stand to hear it and they hate it.
Right.
Is I'm like, look, this job I cannot fail at because I'm preparing you for life without me. Because at
Hmm.
some point I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to live forever. So there's going to come a point that you're going to have to live your life without me. It's my job as your father to prepare you as best as I can for that. So
Right,
it's about giving you a moral code. It's about teaching you respect. It's about doing all of the right things and knowing that it's okay to do the right things. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be transparent. All of these things that you're going to need to equip yourself to move forward when I'm not here, because I'm not going to be here to be able to tell you that. And so,
right,
and Kenny and I have talked a lot about this, and a couple of guys I've talked about is for us at this stage in our lives, this is what it's about. It's like, what are we leaving behind for our kids, for our sons, especially our sons? What are we leaving behind for them? What
yeah,
what building blocks are we giving them so that when we are gone and we're not here, that they have a starting point and not where they're trying to figure it out and they were basically at ground zero. We're trying to teach them these things so that when we are gone, they are prepared for it. And it might not all click right now, but at some point it
right,
will click, and you'll be like, "Oh man, you know what? That's what Pops was talking about." Now, yeah, I'm ready. That's what it's about for us. And so for me, that's part of even with the show. That's it's for me. It's leaving legacy for my kids, so my kids can be like, "Oh man, listen, look at what this is what Dad did," and my
yeah,
grand can be like, "This is what Dad did." They can see it, they can hear it. It gives them something to build from. Um,
yeah,
that comes with age. It comes with age and maturity. And just because you get older doesn't mean you mature. Let's get that
right,
straight. Because there's a lot of old fools out here that have not matured. Like maturity is
Definitely.
it is definitely a part of it.
For sure. Women too. It's not just men,
Oh
women
yeah,
too.
oh yeah, both.
Where I think to myself, and I think it also this wisdom also unfortunately comes with experiencing loss in life. I
Yes.
know yourself and myself, we've experienced loss of I've already lost both my parents.
Mm,
I think I know you've lost your dad.
yeah.
So it makes you think once they are no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you definitely think back of when your parents were trying to teach you about legacy
Mm-hmm.
and how valuable your family name is and how valuable it's important to listen to community
Right.
when it's something positive.
Absolutely.
Um, and I definitely believe that's why yourself, Kenny, the R&B Money podcast, um, even D Nice because he's a father of two daughters,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I think I saw that now he's going to be a grandparent.
Yep.
So all these things now
Yeah.
that you are all sharing on social media, there is nothing else more important
Yeah.
in this moment in time because of the way that society is. And without people like you to teach the younger generation, I mean, we're all going to hell because it's something. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
where would we be going? Because who is going to teach them?
Absolutely.
Um,
And I think that's why eh, we take it so seriously, especially like Kenny and even myself. Like we take it seriously because we know what's at stake.
right,
We know where this is headed. We know how this can end up. And so for us, at this point, our superpower is to get out as much information and share as many things as we possibly can to try to pull up the next generation, try to teach them some things so that they're not going off the path and driving off the bridge because nobody told them any of this stuff. So the more people we can touch, and this is not just for kids, this is also for adults and older people. Like you listen, if you're the smartest person in your circle, you need a new circle.
no, and there's no necessity to do the gatekeeping.
No, it is not. It is. I mean, it's so necessary right now because there's just so much going on, and there's not enough people stepping up and stepping into the breach and saying, "Hey, you know what? That's not right," or "Let me give
Right,
you the right way to do this or a better way to do this." Like that
right,
is what's necessary right now, and so for people like Kenny, myself, R&B, all these people that are, we're trying to educate these people on things that we know we've experienced. We're trying to help you make sure you don't bump your head because we bumped ours.
right, exactly.
We don't we don't want you to do that. So we're trying to help you avoid that. But we
Yeah,
need them to listen. But you also need to be present. Like you have to
right,
be present. You have to be intentional. And I think a lot of times that's what a lot of people struggle with is being present and being intentional. Um,
right.
that's and like I said, even for myself, that's why I think it's kind of taking me some time to get to the point where I'm ready to do my thing. Um,
Yeah,
it's because I want to make sure when I'm doing it right. I'm going to make sure that I'm present and I'm intentional about what I'm doing and walking in my purpose the way it's supposed to be. And so I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, yeah, you know what? Now's the time because what am I waiting for? And
right.
we've seen, even the past couple of days, we've seen life is cruel and it's not something to be taken lightly. It's not something to be like, well, I have tomorrow. I have this. We don't know what we got. The clock is ticking.
Exactly.
So sitting around and talking about I coulda, shoulda, woulda is not helping anything. And
Regret is a hell of a thing.
it
Yeah.
really is. Like I refuse to go to do. I'm like I said, I am emptying all the bullets in my gun before I go. So that's just that. That's
Como? I
I'm.
love that.
Listen, I'm shooting all the shots right now. I'm
Pew
emptying.
pew. Bah.
I'm all I'm just like I don't know what's coming, so I gotta give all of this a shot, and whatever happens, happens. But I'm not gonna be there sitting there talking about, man, I wish I would have did this, or I wish I could have did that. That's not gonna be me. So now's the time. So I'm gonna walk into it, and we're gonna see where it goes.
So with that. are you allowed to tell us a little bit more? We already know it is soon to come, but are you that close that you're ready to give us a date of when we could expect the
I,
episode?
I got a flyer and everything. I'm already ready to go.
Oh, and I hope this inspires you to definitely do it, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, absolutely. I love having conversations with this, and like I said, you and I always vibe because we
Yeah.
like and we have the same type of personality. So it's
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, I'm ready for it. And I'll put it out there. So my first show is going to be next Thursday on the 31st. So that's your first one. I'm going to talk to my guy, and some people might know him from TikTok and stuff like that. His name is Mr. IBM. Um,
Mhm.
he and I've been friends for a while. So we're
Okay.
gonna have a conversation about his, becoming an influencer and his
Right.
positivity and things like that. So that we're gonna start it off with that, and then we'll, I got a couple of things I'm working on to get lined up. But yeah, we're gonna jump it off next week. So
And your show will be on IG, or is it going to be like
it'll
this
be
on
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 IG.
YouTube or
Yeah,
both or
I know I've been procrastinating with the YouTube channel. I got to do that this week.
right.
So I'll put a YouTube channel together, but it will be on IG. And so that's where I started off at and just kind of build the momentum with it. And then I've talked to some people about some other things. So we'll see what happens.
I cannot wait. I am excited. I will definitely tune in.
Of course.
Um, I did want to because we're gonna wrap this up. I know
Hmm.
we've been talking for a minute, and I know you wake up extremely early to go to work.
I'm
Um, so I think all of CQ knows what time you go to work,
listen,
sir.
man. They're killing me right now with this. I can't wait till this time difference change because they're killing me right now.
Seriously.
This.
So I wanted to ask you
Hmm.
before we leave, since we spoke about music and different things, in different genres, we didn't really touch too much on R&B, but you did mention Guy and you mentioned other groups. Um, I want to know,
Mm.
um, and I get this from again because I love me some R&B Money podcasts, and they always ask, what are your top five R&B artists or songs? I requested from you that I wanted to know your top five R&B artists, but also your top five rap or hip hop artists
All right.
before you go. Enlightening us because I'm curious. I'm dying to hear what you have to say.
All right. See, I'm kind of an old soul. So
That's okay.
when it comes to R&B,
These young bucks, they need to
yeah,
know about the older
yeah, they
stuff
need
too.
to know. So when it comes to R&B,
Let them do research, John.
yeah, oh, yeah, you because I listen. There's a cat. These brothers got catalogs, so you gonna be here for a minute. Uh,
Okay.
so I'm gonna go with Marvin.
Okay,
Marvin
Marvin Gaye.
Gaye for all the young bucks that don't know. Um, I'm going with Stevie Wonder
Okay.
with him. I'm going to put uh, Luther in there.
Okay. Lufa.
I like Big Luther with the curl just quite
Uh,
Luther.
Young Bucks research who he's naming so
Research.
you could get a laugh too.
Listen. All right, that's three. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Ah, love us.
Gotta have. And just because I don't think they get enough recognition because they were kind of out there during that time, I'm going with Parliament. Like,
Wow.
I,
Okay.
yeah, because Parliament, like, even
I
like,
know you love the song Flashlight.
oh, that's my joy. Like, I listen, I could play that song, that could be on repeat all day long, and I'm good to go. But it's like listening as I've gotten older, and I
Right.
listen to their catalog of music, and I realize just how much music, not only how much music they've put out, but how many people have sampled the stuff that they use because the music was so far ahead of
And
what.
how many people they've influenced.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm listening. Even today, when Derek was playing this set, I'm listening to this stuff, and I'm like, man, like you really forget how many hits these dudes really had. So
Definitely.
it's like. and of course, anything. It's all these lists are always subjective. Like they just that's just the way it is. Everybody has their thing. Because I had asked Susan, I was like, "Well, what did you?" She was like, "Well, Whitney Houston." I was like, "Whitney Houston to me is not an R&B. Like she's pop, like, so that don't work for me. Like I just no." So
That's another
that's a
conversation
whole
to
nother
go
conversation. Like I was like, "You if
in.
you said Tina Marie," then I've been like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, we good with that." But it's
But
also
at this point, we even have people arguing the fact, John, where when you mention Michael Jackson, people
yeah,
are like, "That's not R&B."
right, exactly. Because a lot of people like he's pop.
Yeah.
Like so, it's
So it
like
depends on
yeah.
who it is you are asking,
But a perfect another one is Prince. Prince is
right?
it,
And Sade, Sade too.
like what I mean. Okay, where how do you really classify that? So yeah, so like I said, everything is subjective, and everybody has their criteria of what it takes. But for me,
Right.
I will go with those right now. Those are my top five.
R&B.
R&B.
Now give me your top five rap slash hip hop. And it could be artists or a group.
All right. So
Um,
Rakim, yeah,
the
from
God MC
God MC,
himself.
where he listen from. I've been with that
See,
dude.
I knew we got along for a reason, John.
I've been with that dude since like yo, that's my guy. Like for real.
Listen, and live, he
Oh,
is insane.
he listen. He is one of the best stage performers that you will ever see because
Definitely.
he. I mean, he
And he
gives.
doesn't lose his cool, John.
Oh, he's the same. Like, and people don't understand. This is how this dude is. I've hung out with this dude. This is how this guy is. Like, he's not no rah rah type dude. He's laid back. Just how he raps, he's cool. That is how this dude is in real life. Like, this is the way that he moves in life. And I've had the pleasure of hanging out with him, and he's the same dude. Like, everything is just smooth and cool. And it's like, damn, like, I want to be like him because he cool.
Right.
Like nothing flusters this dude. Like he's the coolest dude. But if you ever get a chance to see his stage show and see him put on a show, go see it because it
Definitely.
sounds just like the album, if not better. Because he's just gotten better with time. So Ra is going to
And
be the first one.
I always like to say,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, you talked about Rakim, so I have to say this. I've seen him a couple times. I saw him once in the early 2000s here in Miami, and it blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I was like, I need to see him again. I need to see him again. And then I saw him again, not just with CQ, but I saw him again here in Miami
Mm.
because Salam Remy had some shows where he was bringing artists, and that was one of the artists that he brought. I swear to God, every show, he sounds exactly
Same.
like what you hear on the record.
Yep, it's never changed. It's been that dude's been doing this now for like 30 years, and he has not changed a bit. He's the same dude. Like that's just, and that's the one thing I love about him is that he's raw. Like he's just who he is. He's not changing for nobody. And even like it's funny like when he went out to work with Dr. Dre, people were trying to figure out why that didn't work,
Mm,
he was like because we operated two different ways. Like he
yeah,
had a certain sound of what he thought it should be, and I had a certain sound about how I thought it should be. And because
right,
it never really worked out in regards to them, like I said, we recorded a lot of music, but it just wasn't music that I wanted to put out because it didn't reflect me. Like
right,
Rob been about, it has to reflect me and what I'm about, and if it doesn't, he's not doing it. That's why when you look at his the catalog of his material, he doesn't have a lot of material because
mm,
it wasn't like he was just churning out albums just cause. It was like it
right.
hit and he wasn't feeling it. It wasn't gonna come out. He wasn't putting out music like that. He just wasn't built like that. He's still not built like that. But that's a stage show to see. Like you don't want to miss that when that dude come to your town. Like for sure.
Definitely. So I'm glad that was number one.
All right. Who else? Group. I gotta go try Core Quest. Got,
Oh, God, yes.
gotta go try.
They're in my, both of them are in my top five.
Go
So,
try.
yes.
Somebody who I'm really feeling like lately, like as they've gotten later on in life, like I'm really feeling their vibe, and I really appreciate them. Nas, so I'm putting him.
Wow.
Yeah, Nas. Like I knew Nas was special when I heard Live at the Barbecue, and I was just kind of like, okay. And you figured this was a kid, and then it was like he put some stuff out that I was like, okay, that's cool, but it wasn't really hitting me. And
Right.
in the last few years, he's put out some shit. I'm just he's on his mind level he's on is something completely different than what the rest of these people out here do. That's just
Right.
that's just so I'll go with him.
You
Uh
got three. Okay.
okay. Another underrated one that I like and I've always liked even when he was with Wu-Tang Clan is Method Man. I always thought that he at first he wasn't getting the due that he should have gotten.
I think you're my hip hop twin.
That's my guy. Like I'm a Method Man fan. Like I'm like
Me too. To Cal all day long.
all day long, all day long. I'm like, man.
Yes.
And as he's gotten older, he's gotten better. And I'm like, dude, like, this is why when they even when they came out with Cream, I was just like, that dude right there is a star. Like he's the guy. And
Yep.
once he started to develop and he started getting on his own, I was like, yeah, he's that dude. So Meth, so that he's gonna be number 4.
And he's also phenomenal live, by the way.
Yes, he's another one. Like we saw him, I've seen him a couple of times over the last couple of years, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
he gonna give you a show. Like
He
that's
definitely is.
gonna give you a show.
He doesn't miss a step.
No, he doesn't miss a step.
Nope.
And the fifth one, I'm gonna go with my hometown people, and I'm gonna go with Public Enemy.
Wow. Okay.
Go with Public Enemy. Just knowing the journey and what they've accomplished and what they stand for,
Yeah.
that resonates with me. Like they've made anthems, like the guy, the comedian said, they made songs you march to. Like that was just there's an energy and a power to that not everybody can wield, and they've wielded it for 20 some odd years, and they've wielded it the right way. And so,
Yep.
and being like I said, growing up around them and being in those rooms with them and watching this thing grow, um, I have to put them in my top 5.
I love your top five. I had the pleasure of meeting Keith Shockley here in Dante's.
Did you?
I did. What a phenomenal, not just DJ, but what a phenomenal energy he has.
Yes.
Yo,
Man,
he shut it down. And I know he's been to Dante's already a couple times.
yeah,
And
Keith,
never disappoints.
no, Keith and his brother Hank were the Bomb Squad.
Right.
Um, it was something to see. Like it really was to watch
It
these.
still is.
I mean, it is. It's something to see to watch these guys. Like I said, I'm sitting there and you watch them pull music and pull these sounds and these samples and put this stuff together, and you're like, how did that even cross your radar? That
Their knowledge of
yes,
music.
absolutely. And that's the key, I think, and that's the other thing too about the difference between us music wise and what's going on now is
Mm.
when we were coming up, especially the DJs and the producers, all of these dudes were musical savants. Like they listened to everything, and they went to the record stores and they were digging through crates to find.
Yes.
It was an art form to it, and now you don't have that. Like they don't have any. Literally, you can hear a song. I've heard and I've seen it. I've even had a couple of my niece and nephews, like they'll hear a song and I'll be like, oh, or they'll hear, like, I'll never forget the first time my niece heard Puffy when he was doing Missing You,
Right.
and Sting was singing,
Uh-huh.
and she goes, who is that white man messing up Puffy's song? And I'm like, wait, what?
It's worse than we think. I
It,
had someone
it
from
is.
my gym that's young, and he listens to the music because they're playing it in the gym. And
Mhm.
one day I was going, it was when JD came to spin here in Miami. And he asked me, where are you going? And I'm like, to go see Jermaine Dupri. And he said, who is that?
See, I can't. This is what you.
No, I reacted the same way. Like I can't. Like and that you would expect somebody younger to know JD because technically he's not the OG.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like and that's why I say the educational way that
But
they
of course they're not gonna know Sting, John.
I was like, I looked at. She's like, who was this old white man singing Puffy song? I'm like, wait, what?
But you know
I'm like,
what's different about our generation? This I've noticed, and it's evident in CQ. We wouldn't never stick to one genre.
we listen to everything.
Everything, as
We
long as it's good, we listen to
we
it.
listen to it, and I think that's the beauty of us, of our generation, and the way that we came up is we had an appreciation for everything.
Definitely.
Like you said, in CQ, Derek will put on, and he'll put on yacht rock. He'll put on anything, and we all know the music. We all know the songs because we all grew up listening to it. It was good music, so we all know it. And I think that's the one thing that's missing with these kids is that they don't have that. So
Definitely.
it's like they have, like I said, it's kind of like everything is in one lane, and they stick to that, and that's just kind of how it works out. Whereas with us, think about it. When we first came up, you only had an AM station. Like there were
Right.
so all you could listen to was like rock and roll and all that kind of stuff. And then the FM station came, so they started playing a little R&B and all that kind of stuff. And then later on, when you got to be around the late 80s, 90s, then hip hop started to blossom. So now you started to hear that on the radio. But in the meantime, you still had jazz, you still had classical. Like you had all of these genres of music that we listened to all the time.
They
So
can't even fathom something like American Bandstand.
there's no way they did that. They would be like, what is that? Like, what was the purpose of that? Like, they had no clue. Soul Train, they be, what were they doing? Like that.
For real.
That's different. That's just the. It's just different, and I think they're. I even think I know they're missing out because there's a lot of history. There's a lot of things that they're not going to experience, or because either they don't care or they don't want to.
Yeah.
And for us, it's frustrating for us because we're like, do you see what's happening? Do you see what's in front of you? Do you
Right.
understand what you're looking at or what you're listening to? And they don't get it because they don't understand their history. And that's why, and I said this last week when I was on the live, it's not just about your musical history, it's about your history as a person,
Right.
knowing where you came from, knowing that you didn't, your life did not start as being a slave. Like we were way before that. You have to know your history so that you know where you're going. And if you don't,
You're
then
gonna repeat it.
you're gonna repeat it or you're gonna fail because it's like
Yeah.
you don't know you don't know what to stand 10 toes down on, and that's why right now this whole thing with disinformation is so dangerous.
Ugh.
AI is so dangerous because you're trying to scrub these platforms and scrub all of this stuff of history, and if
Yeah.
you don't get the history and look for it yourself, they're not going to teach it to you in school. So you
I think that is why people that are doing the pods that they're doing right now, or whether it be a show or whether you're doing it in IG Live, that's why it's so important, especially right now, for
hmm
you all to continue to bring the information to the masses. And
absolutely
I can't stop saying that. And you
no
know, I get a lot of people that are like, "Oh, because you're like a fanatic with the R&B Money podcast." But do you see what they're putting out as far as content? Of course
exactly.
I'm going to support that. And I want to encourage you, John, when you do your show, also talk about the music. Talk about what we spoke about here too,
Yes,
because
I
it is so needed.
I will promise you that because
Yeah.
it's been so ingrained in my life. Like that's all I know. Like my my mother, my mother's teacher was Lionel Richie's mother.
Wow. I
She,
love me some Lionel Richie, by the
she was
way.
pregnant. Like she was pregnant with Lionel when she was teaching.
Wow.
When I was growing up, and because my mother's from Tuskegee,
Mm.
we used to walk down the street. There was a community center on the corner of my grandmother's block. And we would go down there and sit outside and listen to the Commodores practice before they became the Commodores. So that was like a big thing. Like I can talk to Lionel Richie today, and he'll be like, "Hey, yeah, I know you. I know your mom. I know your grandmother." Like that's just these are the kind of people that I grew up around. My mother was a nurse when she first started out in nursing. Sam
Right.
Jr. was in a car accident. She helped nurse him back to health, and he used to
Wow.
get her, take her to, and her and my dad, and bring him to his shows and stuff. So music has always been ingrained in me. And me growing up where I grew up, especially when I was on Long Island, like I
Mm.
was exposed to Guy and Public Enemy and EPMD and reggae, like all of the stuff that when everything was blowing up, I was in a lot of these places. And so music has always been a part of me, and I think it's important because it made me who I am. But I think it's also important in going forward because these kids need to understand the power of music. They need to understand the influence of it and what they're listening to and how powerful it is and how what you can use it for so many different things. And so it has to be part of the conversation. There's no way I would ever have a show or talk about stuff and not talk about the music because the music is ingrained in everything. And
Yeah.
for me, I would rather do without television than I can do without television. I don't have no problem doing it on TV,
No,
but
and music is also a really good way to educate
absolutely.
without it feeling like it's a task.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
I
necessary.
I think we could honestly go on for hours. I always say this when it's like the really good conversations, but it's true.
We
Um,
can talk about music anytime you want. All you gotta do is let me know when, and I will be there because I can talk about music all night long.
no doubt. I think with this taste that my followers are going to get, and anyone who is going to watch this, whether they are not following me yet or not, I hope that they do follow you. They end up following me. I hope that they, if nothing else, they get inspired by this conversation.
Absolutely.
I want you, before we hop off, I want you to tell people where it is that they can find you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, please, your handle.
Yeah, my handle. Yeah, you can find me on IG. I'm under my name. I don't do the fancy nicknames and all that stuff. I'm John Copeland Jr. It'll be actually John Copeland Jr. 23 on IG, and actually even on Facebook, it's the same thing. I use my name because I wasn't into all of the other stuff. But you,
And for YouTube.
I got to set my YouTube channel up. So
Ah, I
I'm
was like, because now your YouTube is gonna blow up.
slacking, so I got to get to that. I'll get it done. Next time I come on, I'll have my YouTube channel so everybody can see it. Uh,
Okay.
But yeah, it's just like I said, you can find me there. My show when I start next week on the 31st, it will be on my page. So just
Okay.
notification when it pops up and just come on in. It should be a great conversation, and we're going to try to continue to do this on. I think I'm going to do it on a weekly basis. Like that's the whole plan. So we'll just kind of figure it out. But I'm just at this point, I'm just kind of jumping in. I'm going to get it started, and then we'll kind of go from there. And I got a couple of other things in the works too. I can't talk about that yet.
I love it. I wish you nothing but success in everything that you're about to do, sir.
I appreciate it. I
Um,
appreciate your support. You've always been there. You're one of the people pushing me repeatedly to do my.
because I see you. I see you, and I see something in you that I also know I see in myself, which is sometimes, and I think I told you this one time in your life, and then I'll close out. But I definitely want to tell you this. I saw how you were putting everyone else ahead of you
Mm-hmm.
because you're that type of personality, and I'm the same way.
Right.
I will support others so much that sometimes I lose sight in the fact that I have to take care of myself too.
Right. Right.
So when I saw that, changes were happening and that you were procrastinating, I recognize, because people sometimes need to do that with me. I need
Absolutely.
a little bit of a push.
Push. Yeah.
So this is why I am always being very vocal
Mm-hmm.
and not pushing you, but trying to inspire you to keep going.
And you have like you really, especially the last couple of months, you have truly done that. Like you have
Thank you.
put your foot in my back and been like, look, what are we doing? Like we waiting. And so that has definitely helped push me forward. So I can't thank you enough for that. I truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
Anytime you need me, you want to talk, whether you need me for anything, I'm here for you. All you gotta
And
do.
whenever you want me to come on, if you want me to be a
Oh
guest,
yeah, yeah, we're gonna talk about that because I need you to come on for a couple of conversations. So yeah,
okay.
that will
I'm
definitely.
hey. Just
So,
let me know. I
absolutely.
am doing my show bi-weekly now because you, sir, um, okay, do it weekly, but it's not easy.
It's not, and
Um,
the thing is, especially doing, we did the Gentleman's Corner for 5 years, and it was a weekly thing, and people don't realize how much of a grind it is
yeah,
until you do it, and how draining it is. Like when you're having to do a show every week. So that's why I say I'm going to start off with this show next week,
yeah.
and then I'll determine. I don't know if I'm going to do a show the following week. I might wait a week and then do another show after
Yeah.
that. Kind of have to.
Whenever you need me, all you have to do is reach out.
I got you.
It's I will find the time, rearrange the schedule, whatever it is I got to do.
But make it happen.
I know how to support just like you do too.
Absolutely. So
With that, we leave everyone. Because again, we could continue going for hours. We could do like a marathon of like hours and hours and hours. I truly enjoyed this conversation. I am not surprised because, like you are saying, even when you pop up in my live, it is something where even just in chat, we have an amazing conversation.
Absolutely.
I want to encourage everyone to follow John on IG, on Facebook. Check out his episode when it comes out next week. Everyone, I know he does, but walk with integrity and spread love. And thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Spotlight with That Bee. Peace.
Peace.